Hi, good morning. This is Brenda Baxley from Sew Unique Sewing. Welcome to day 2 of our beginning sewing camp. I'm so excited we get to do this online. Today we are going to be making a pillowcase. Yesterday we made our pocket pillow, and at the end of the video you were given instructions for today's class. You should have 3/4 of a yard of fabric for your pillowcase, as well as 1/4 yard of fabric for your cuff. Okay, let's get started. Once you get started, you're going to take your 3/4 of a yard for your cuff and you're going to lay it out on your cutting board. You're going to lay the edges up, line it up at ground zero. Okay, ground zero is where the line before the 1 meets the line before the 1. Okay, so you're going to line it up there at ground zero. You're going to make sure it's nice and straight. You should have pressed your fabric before we got started. And now you're going to line up your ruler at 27 and hold it with your left hand if you were right-handed, and then just cut along the side. Okay, once you have it trimmed up that direction, now we're going to turn it over and we're going to fold it together. So you're going to fold that evenly, and this just makes it a little bit easier to manage on my board because my board isn't as long as the fabric. So we're going to line up again at ground zero here. Okay, we're going to take our ruler and we are going to cut this off at 21.5. Okay, we are cutting off our salvage end over here. The salvage is where they run the machine through when they're inking, and they use that piece of fabric to attach to the machine. So we're going to get rid of that. Okay. All right, for your cuff piece, again, you're going to line this up at ground zero over here on your left side. Your fold is down here. It is folded in half still like it came off the bolt. We're going to line up our ruler at 9. Again, with your ruler on the left, you're going to cut on the right with your rotary cutter. Now again, if you are left-handed, you are going to do it just the opposite. Okay, once we're done with that, we're going to turn it and we're going to line it up with a line that's going horizontal. And we are going to cut this as well at 21.5. Again, we're just making sure we have all that salvage off on the right-hand side, and we're going to whack it and get done with it. Now that we've got everything trimmed up, now we're going to start matching and sewing. So we are going to take the cuff and we're going to lay it on top of our case. So our case is all laid out nice and straight, opened up wide. We're going to place this right sides together. Okay, right sides together is pretty side to pretty side, and they are going to kiss. And then we're going to take our pins or clips. I love to use clips. It's my new fave. I don't know about you, but I get a new fave every couple of months. So that's our new fave. And we're going to put our clips about every 4 to 5 fingers. So you want to lay out your hand. Ouch. And don't put your pins in with your clips, because then they poke you just like that. So we've got our clips all clipped along the side, and now we're going to go to the sewing machine. Now we're at the sewing machine, and you are going to line your fabric up with the right side of your sewing machine foot. So as you start to stitch, remember, lock your stitch. So 3 to 5 stitches forward, 3 to 5 stitches back, and then continue to sew. You're going to remove the clips or your pins as you go. You're just going to sew a little bit. Oh my gosh, they're just attaching. I think they want to stay on there. So we're going to sew that up, and we'll be right back. Now that we've got our cuff attached to our case, we're going to lay this out right side up. I went ahead and pressed my case so it's nice and flat there. And now we're going to fold this up. We're going to fold it up 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Now as I'm folding, I'm making sure that it's about 3 inches below my seam. And now we're going to roll this. We're going to roll this tightly Okay, and once you roll this, it helps the fabric to slide down when we get to this next step, okay? So now we're gonna put some clips in, or your pins, either one is fine. We're gonna match the edge of the pillowcase to the seam, okay? And then we're gonna give it a little shake. And give it a little shake, and because it's rolled, it'll roll down there. It's not rolling very well right this minute, but we are gonna shake this as we go across. And that'll just let that fabric slide right down, so when we're sewing the seam, we won't have the case inside. Okay, now that we've got that clipped or pinned all the way across, we are gonna start sewing. Now you've shaken it a little bit so that fabric will roll down. Now as you put it in the machine, you're gonna line up this seam that you just sewed in the center of your machine where your needle is falling, and we're gonna start sewing, and we're gonna sew right on top of that seam. Now remember to lock your stitch when you start and when you stop the seam, okay? And now we're gonna sew all the way down. I used to keep a stack of pillowcases in my sewing room for when my kids were invited to birthday parties. It was always made a great gift if the child, you know, whatever theme had going on. You know, kids have certain themes. Right now, I think it's the trolls and I don't know, whatever Disney characters going on or whatever new movies out, they usually have fabric that coincides with that. But I would keep that fabric in stock in my stash and have these pillowcases all made up for them. Now comes the fun part. I call it pulling the snake out of the hole. Some people call it the jelly roll. Some people call it the sausage roll. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull the case out of the cuff. So the cuff is coming back as the case is going out. So you're turning the cuff right side out. And then we're pulling the case all the way out. And then that seam is encased in the cuff. And now we'll go press. Now we've got the cuff pressed nice and flat, and now we're gonna put the case right sides together, and we are gonna match up where the cuff is at the edge. And we're gonna match that up, and we're gonna pin it all the way down this side and then down the bottom in an L shaped. Now that we have everything pinned, we're gonna come to the machine and we're gonna sew. And it's very important to lock your stitch when you start and when you stop. So we're gonna get started and we're gonna lock our stitch. And then you're just sewing all the way down the side of that seam there. Your edges should be matching up pretty. Now for those of you overachievers, this is where you could do an overcast stitch to protect that edge. I don't necessarily do that because you know, it's going to be on the inside of the case, so it shouldn't really matter. So we're going to sew that up and then we'll be finished. This is a great time to reach your hand in and just make sure that you got everything all sealed up quickly and correctly. And then we're going to grab the bottom and turn this right side out just like you would a shirt or a pair of jeans out of the laundry. And just turn it right side out. Make sure those corners poke. And now you have a beautiful pillowcase ready for gift giving or whatever it is the case may be. Thank you so much for coming to join us at day 2 of So Unique Sewing's beginning sewing camp. We have so far made a pocket pillow and a beautiful pillowcase. Tomorrow we'll be doing a drawstring gift bag. Great for gift giving at any season, birthdays, holidays, Christmas. Also great if you make it a little bit different as a wine bag, okay? We will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow you will need 2 fat quarters, 2 coordinating colors, one for your lining of the bag, one for the exterior of the bag. If you don't have fat quarters, if you want to just pull something from your stash, you're going to need a piece that is at least 9 inches by 18 inches for the inside and for the outside, and approximately a ½ yard of ribbon to coordinate with your fabric. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.